Hello, my little goblins. We're back at it again, and this time we're playing Dogmatika. And this is an update from the old Dogmatika ritual deck, and this one is way crazier and way more based. So, remember how we tried to do some cool plays where we went into like the Zaborg monster, and then we tried to mill their entire extra deck? Well, no more. You don't have to do that anymore. Now we just have a boss monster called Albazoa, where you can just mill 7 cards by itself from this just one card. And how does it work? Get out turn 1, right? It's unaffected by all monster. It makes all your Dogmatika monsters unaffected by Fusion, Synchro, Exi, or Link monsters. So pretty much all extra deck monsters. And then on top of that, I can activate this once per main phase. It's not a quick effect. For every 2 cards in your extra deck, send 1 card from your hand or extra deck to the graveyard. So they get to pick which one of these they use, but if it's turn 1, they can only pick this one. So they have to pretty much just send 7 cards to the graveyard, either from their hand or extra deck. So most of the time it's going to be extra deck. So after we do that, we also can Maximus them for another 2 cards, and then this other new card that we got, Dogmatika Matrix, which can also send another card to the graveyard. So pretty cool. We're going to do a short combo guide with this because there's mainly one combo that's confusing with the deck. So I feel like I should show it so you guys can understand why it's in there. We're also running a Shadal package. So not only do we mill them for 9 cards in their extra deck, we also hit them with that Yugioh window. So it's pretty cool. Pretty gnarly. So let's get to the combo guide, and then we're gonna get some games, and they're pretty fucking hilarious ones. Hello, my little goblins. We're here with the combo guide, and this is the only way you can do the combo guide is if you open Diviner. Well, this little combo, this intricate combo for the deck, with Diviner and with 1 Bysteel monster. So you're gonna play Diviner. Diviner activates. We have kind of all the cards we need in our hand anyway. Still gonna send a Herald. Herald's effect's going to activate. Herald is going to grab the Calamity. It doesn't really matter what it grabs, to be completely honest. Then we're going to play Darkworm, which is boom, banish. And then we are going to go into Ultimate Tolkien. And then we are going to set this card face down, which is going to activate Tolkien's effect, which lets us special summon this level 7 out of the deck. It doesn't matter what you play it in. And now we can activate the Dogmatika Matrix. We're actually going to grab Zoa. And now we play Calamity. We send that to the graveyard. And boom, we got Zoa on the field. So our opponent has 15 cards in the extra deck right now, right? Now we can activate Zoa. He mills 7. We could technically activate Matrix too. But you can also activate this, which I'm just going to do this. We probably should have just activated Matrix before we did this, but let's just do this. And then you can go into their extra deck and let's say banish, banish, banish. And we probably should have activated this first, but we can also activate Macabre. Put it back on the board. This was a pretty failed combo guide, but the main part of this combo guide was to just show you that you can make your opponent go down to 4 cards even without Maximus. If our hand was a little better where we had Maximus, or we had Ecclesia so we can go into Maximus, you get a special summoned Ecclesia afterwards, got Maximus, and we would have ripped the last 2 cards out of his deck. And we could have ripped some, let's say, a draw. Like, we could have ripped our Winded package out of the deck. So he would have had 2 cards left in his extra deck, a ton of targets for your Bysteel monsters too, right? And you would have, like, if any deck that plays the extra deck is just going to concede probably, unless they have their one of shufflers, you know what I mean? But it's a very powerful combo, and I'm not going to do a retake of this just because I feel like you guys learned what to do already. So remember, the only way you can go into Ultimea is with a Diviner plus any Bysteel monster, because they're the only cards that you can get that are both a level 6 on the field, that are both tuner and a non-tuner. So hope you guys like it. Let's get into some actual games and see how that goes. Hello, we're here with game number 1 against opponent, and our hand we cannot do anything with. This is not usually that common, but happens from time to time with every hand. Our opponent, on the other hand, he had a 1 of Keldo and a 2 of Kelbeck. Pretty sweet. He's going to mill that 5 cards. The great thing for us, though, he does get some pretty good mills here, but the great thing for us is he milled our 1 of Ariel. So we're going to be able to take advantage of that. Let's hit him. Hit him where it hurts, John. And then he uses Keldo to protect him. It's alright. It's alright. Got rid of the level 4 body on the field, so that's good. It's good. He's got a trap. He's going to add triple tactics. Triple tactics, he looks at my hand. He gets rid of evenly match, so tells you what he's afraid of, but I don't know. The Spy Shield Magma is going to stop him in his tracks here. Banish, goodbye. Thank you. Thank you. And then he just sets 3, passes, and I grant my Baldric. So I have another stop for tier. It's going to be beautiful. So I go into combat because I know if he has Soliek or Crime, he can just negate something and get a free negate off. If I just kill this, then he can't really do anything. Like if I try and play out, he won't be able to do anything. Honestly, my hand's not really that great either. So I just set the Schism because I actually have the Ariel engrave, which is normally not how we go into Shaddoll, but this is a pretty cool way of going into it. So he's going to activate Medora's special summon. I'm going to activate the Schism, and he's going to cry. Or so I thought he was going to cry. But one of his cards is Imperm, so yikes. So you can Imperm me anyway. And he sent the 1 of Yugioh with his 1 of... In fairness, he did add this to the hand, but kind of crazy hit the 1 of Yugioh too. But we have the Buy Shield, you know? Buy Shields are Buy Shields. They're just Buy Shields. Hit it, so they can't quit it. And then I don't think he reads what Baldric does, but when your opponent special summons from the extra deck, and you have another dragon on the field, you can use Baldric to tribute to banish the extra deck monster. So he went bye-bye. Goodbye, thank you. Hello, we're here with game number 2 against Clinch Pape. And yeah, our hand would have been good. Actually, our hand's pretty decent. Never mind, it's not. The unfortunate thing here is since he stops the Diviner, there's really no way for me to go into our Ritual Monster. So, yeah. So, what do? I go into our Fateful Secure Gardna, which lets us use our Maximus. And I make a very tough decision here, which isn't a very tough decision. Where I use Maximus effect to, instead of trying to search for Herald and get the Ritual card out, I just, like, let's just go Winda, and let's just go, Titanclad will get a Float of Risk, so I have a negate. Which you probably won't even need to use, because our opponent is playing Sword Soul. So, if I just time the Schism right, he just instantly loses. Like, if he activates Tenyi or anything like that, you just use Winda, you just can't play anymore. And that's exactly what happens. I flip the Schism, Clinch Poppy doesn't want anymore. Just goes to show, even if they mess up your opener, you can still get them. Hello, we're here with game number 3 against Never Lose. And let's see if we can change that so he does lose. Herald is going to add Alba. And then we're going to use that Herald to go into Almarash. I know you guys seen me do that combo in the beginning. Unfortunately, in these videos, I do not do the combo because I just don't open a Bestial with Diviner. Go figure. So, go into Zoa. And now we use Zoa's effect. So technically, you always want to use Zoa's effect before you use Maximus, because if you use Maximus, then they drop down the 13 cards, so you only mill 6. So if you use this when they have 15, they get to mill the max. So he actually sends a bunch of Despia cards, right, with Winda, and he sent Kelbeck. The opponent is actually playing Tier Limit Branded, and these are all like one-ofs, so I'm thinking he's going to try and get them back with a Shuffler. right? He might have a shuffler in hand or something. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to mill one. So we ash the Kelbeck. I play the Ecclesia. And here, again. So the reason I do what I do, right, is for two reasons. Because I just kept getting the notification that this guy has a Bestial in hand. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go into Winda. If I go into Winda, I just lock his whole strategy out, right? So we go into Al Capone and into Titanclad to just set up the combo. But with Al Capone, we do this decision instead of... Because I don't have another Shadal in the graveyard, and I had a feeling he had a Bestial because he kept having a notification. So I add Ariel instead to discard it so I can just snipe his branded Albion so he can't get the effect. I didn't know this was his only one of because I didn't know he was playing tier. But yeah, it's his only one. Which is hilarious. So you snipe all his Despia cards. And then he actually activates this. It's already way too late. I have a negate in hand now. Our opponent plays that and then they give up. Hello, we're here with game number 4, and our hand is looking a little extra scrumptious. That is a little disturbing. The usage rate of Maxi at 87%. I actually, if you guys don't watch Hard Leg Joe or whatever, he has a Twitter post which is really hilarious, and it's like a statistic where it shows the 87% usage of Maxi, but then it also says the amount of people who earned gems from signing their name in Konami, and it was like 88%. So like it's legit, like almost every single player that plays this game is playing Maxi. We activate Nadir Servant. He's gonna activate Shifter, which should actually be like really devastating here. But we have the Call by a Grave, so we're heroes, and we have triple tactics to even punish him further. We're gonna pop. I get unlucky. Obviously, I always do, but hit the Sprite starter. Boom, here's a Dogmatika Ecclesia. Boom. Matrix. So what Matrix does, Matrix lets you add 2 cards to your hand if your opponent has monsters on the field. Which is really good. So I'm gonna play Maximus. It gets negated. So this next turn is, I thought he had Smashers. I know he didn't search it, but they don't play that many back row cards. I didn't know he was gonna have Burst. So if he had Smashers, I just didn't want him getting rid of Albazoa, which would, because I only have 1 in the deck. So maybe maybe I should be playing 2, so I wouldn't play like this. But it all works out in the end, because now I get to do a free Albazoa. Here comes the Bride. He sucks him off. Boom. Great. I send Al Capone to the graveyard to grab Ariel so I can get rid of Rodent Totem, because I already has Schism in hand. And I said 2, so he's absolutely, there's no way he wins. I have Punishment and I have Schism. Just make sure if you have this combo on the field, you activate Schism before Punishment, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to fusion summon. So locks you out of your extra deck. So GG, bye bye. Alrighty, so our opponent is playing one of the most AIDS deck in the format. He is playing this Thunder. It's pretty much like Chaos Tier Element, and it is really annoying, like extremely annoying. And they also play the Punk package too, which is, it's just a lot of like cards smacked together with 3 snows. So they just even if they don't hit grass, they mill so many cards it doesn't matter. So with Chaos Ruler, he not only hits Kelbeck, he also gets Lubellion in the graveyard, and he hits the most insane cards off these. But his deck's like built towards this, so I don't know. This is another new cool card in the format, Branded Regain. It's really strong with the Lubellion. So now he's going to be able to recycle some cards, and pretty much what this card does, if you have Bystils in your hand, you can pretty much draw 2 cards per turn cycle, which is crazy. So first card he's going to go to is Baron de Fleur. And then Thunder Dragon Dark is going to shuffle some of the cards back. Okay. Zombie Vampire, boom. He's going to mill 4. He hits my Bestial. Oh, yeah, he hits my Bestial. He hits my Drewsworm. My one of, thank you. And then he plays his other one of. It's 60 card deck, by the way. Magma Hut. Goes into Beatrice. Goes into Sharon. Sends Snow. Has 2 Snows in the graveyard. Oh my gosh. Goes into Sprite Off. I thought he was going to go into Sprint, to be honest. The new Sprint card. Because that card's like really insane with Sprite Off. But he goes into Gakalios. And I thought he was actually just going to go right into Recalios. He does not. He opts to go to try and just mill even more millers, like more cards in his deck. So let's see. He hits another 3. Hits another 5. So the buy shields are really insane with the Thunder Dragons because all the Thunder Dragons are all at 3 now. And you can use the Beast Shields on my turn to banish and get effects from the Thunder Dragons too. The only mistake, like, his board's a little whack in my opinion, because, like, I think personally he should have tried to be able to, like, get a Thunder Dragon on the field so he could go into Colossal, which I think was a little bizarre. He did not do that. So I can't hit Baron with his Ultimate Slayer because of this, but we have our secret tech, which is the new Tri-Brigade monster, which sounds like it's hot garbage, but it's actually not bad with Ultimate Slayer because you send it to the graveyard, right? We send that back, and then it gets to send a Winged Beast from my extra deck, which I just send Garura. So, let's me draw a card. Yay, we like drawing cards. So he plays Regain here. I'm going to max C. I honestly thought this guy was just going to straight up negate it. I was prepared for that, but he does not. So now I'm able to just send the Tis and go for the pop here. Only thing that's super annoying about this is the board is not going to be full anymore, so he's going to have like only 4 cards here. So now he can snow when I use Maximus. So when I'm summoning Maximus, he's just going to snow it like 100%. I already knew that he was going to. I was hoping he wasn't going to, but yep. By the way, 53% win rate. If you see like anything over like 50 something percent, it's usually a pretty insane win rate for a card. Like, especially in a game like this, it's a very high win rate. Because you gotta remember, there's a lot of people who are playing who are, like, very bad at the game, and they're probably tanking the win rate on these cards. So, pretty neato. If you didn't know, all the tiers, just to give you an idea, all the tiers are, like, 54%. So, Snow is on, like, the level of, like, the tier cards for win rate. Kind of fucking crazy. We activate Ecclesia to add the Matriarchs. We go into Alba. This is actually super funny, dude. So, when your opponent's playing this long combo deck, right? They're doing all these turns. They might run a little low on time, right? And when you use Albazoa, they have to make multiple decisions. Not only do they have to pick what decision they want to do, they also have to mill cards in their extra deck, right? So I activate it, and my opponent just loses because of a time limit loss. Because it was too many decisions for him to make. He probably had like 10 seconds left or something. I thought it was just really funny. That's why I wanted to include it. Hello, we're here with Fortunato. So Fortunato helped me greatly with this deck. See how all the tier cards are like 54%? That's insane win rate for a card. So he had his own replay he wanted to submit, and it was pretty crazy. So I was like, he's playing the same deck. He plays a little bit of different variant. He plays the one with the Ibli lock, which I just think the Shadal one's a little more consistent, personally, because you just send it all off of the Maximus. So, yeah. Just personal preference, I guess. So he's going to activate Scream. He mills. Okay. Opponent's actually getting some pretty crazy mills here. Baldrak coming in like a damn samurai here. Cutting the opponent's head off. But then sometimes your opponent has it all. Right? And they're going to go into Terrible Baguska. So I guess he missed on the thing, but it wasn't that bad for him. So he's going to add the Albazoa and the Ecclesia. Use Ecclesia's effect to special summon it. The search is going to... You would think the search was going to get negated, but the way Floateries works is the negate happens in your hand. So when it hits the field, it automatically negates the Baguska. So it doesn't actually get negated, because it was never in defense. So Flutteries comes out. You negate the Baguska, and then the Laser Search actually works. So he adds Calamity, which is a really sweet play on his part. Now he goes into Albazoa. Now you can cry. Brandon and Red's going to be coming. Let's see what he ends up going into. He goes into Mirror Jade. And the opponent just has to cry here. Because not only is Baldrak just going to banish Mirror Jade and leave his ass wide open, right? Mirror Jade, even if the Mirror Jade wanted to banish, he cannot banish any Dogmatika card. Does not work. So he's going to go for the banish. He can only really hit the Baldrak. He does not. That activates. Triple Tactics. He's going to draw. Oh, he's just going to get rid of the last card in his hand. And GG. Just to show you some of the power of Albazoa. Hello and welcome to the recap. Thank you for watching this far. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing. It helps me out. And soon I will pass Mr. Beast in maybe 500 to 600 years. It'd be pretty great. So I'll also join the Discord. We have a tournament going today. If you're watching this on Friday when the video comes out, we have a tournament that is coming out at 6 p.m. Eastern. So join the Discord for that. So this deck is pretty crazy. It looks really troll, right? It looks hilariously troll, but the deck's actually pretty damn good. Like, I actually climbed multiple ranks with this deck, and I'm gonna say the competition out there is pretty tough. Like, there's a lot of people playing hyper competitive decks. I don't think I've played against anyone playing a troll deck the entire time I've been playing. Which is usually you've run into one or two or something like that. But it's still relatively early in the season too, so maybe that's the reason why. But man, let me tell you, these Bystial cards, insane. They're crazy. Craft them if you don't got them. Crazy. Albazoa, this card's a mean hitting machine. Getting rid of so many cards, and then it's just really a beautiful thing. Maximus being able to be a one card Shadal combo, beautiful thing. Like I said, the Shadal combo does get ruined a bit if your opponent has a Bystial, because they can snipe the Al Capone. But if you get lucky and you end up having Ariel as well, they can't hit both. So I mean, they could if you're really unlucky, but hopefully they can't. But yeah, the deck's pretty solid. I'm not 100% sure about the win rate, but we definitely climbed like 3 or 4 ranks with this deck. And I would probably, if I had to say, it was probably around like a 70% win rate overall going first and second, because this deck actually runs going second cards. Like, I run 3 Evenlies, and I also run Ultimate Slayers, which are really solid. Yeah, it was actually surprisingly good. So, that all being said, what do I think this deck ranks? Right? 1 to 10, what do I think it ranks? I think this deck, personally, is like... It's kind of hard to say, but I'm going to say my opponent just, like, some of them maybe just don't understand how some of these new cards work. So, like, if my opponents start to get a little smarter with how these cards work... they'll know like the pain points of what to hit, and in that case, I'm gonna give it like a 7.5 to an 8. I don't think it's terribly super strong, but if you go first and you're able to win to your opponent, sometimes like you just win the game right there. But if you end up bricking, like you open like multiple Bystials going first, and you have no way of sending anything to the graveyard, it's pretty rough. But for the most part, you do have ways of saying, like, Nadir Servant's at 2. The deck gets better with Nadir Servant going to 3, obviously. Clay's is at 3. We got 3 Diviners. We have a good amount of starters in the deck. And worst case scenario, we just pass with Bystials in our hand, and hopefully that just interrupts our opponent's game plan. So a lot of times it does work out for you. So... yeah, a lot of interaction now. We have a lot of interaction against Tyr, which is nice. Tyr is still ridiculously powerful. It still does not stop how powerful Tyr is, but it definitely helps kick him down a bit, right? And on a tier scaling, I'm probably going to give this deck like a rogue tier deck because I don't think it's quite tier 3. Well, I think it's like going to be lurking in that rogue tier and could be a definite threat. Probably could hit Master 1 with it. It just depends on, maybe it needs a little more tuning. But I thought the ratios were pretty good in this. We tested it quite a bit, so I thought the ratios weren't bad. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys want to see next. There's a lot of things on the list of what I need to make, so let me know. All right, goodbye.